IVM.
All right.
Yet another month.
There are so many episodes where it always starts with all right now.
Yeah,
All
very
right.
Matthew McConaughey. All
When,
right.
all right. Even though nothing
No,
is
but,
all right, but sure.
Yeah, yet another month.
Mm.
So how was your week?
God, not good. Not good. I'm not going to get into it. It was not good. It was a very taxing, mentally taxing week. And it's like a marathon now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so far I've managed to pace myself and I'm making myself through the lockdown or whatever. But now with the finish line not in sight,
Yeah.
me wanting to give up is becoming easy. And by give up, I mean, again, first of all, I just have to clarify, I spoke about suicide 2-3 episodes ago and I got a lot of worried messages and that's the last thing I intended. I was being candid about suicide. I was being open about suicide. And especially after Sushant Singh Rajput, I feel like people say shit like, oh, I'm all yours and we need to talk about mental health. But I feel like people don't really want to talk about the crassness or the horrible side of mental health. So I was literally just doing that.
Got it.
When
so I have a question. When you say no end in sight, what is your version of the end? Like for me, I'll give you context to why I'm asking it.
Sure.
So I had the reason I'm very charged about this episode is because I had like a full my therapist session yesterday, and I have a lot of perspective suddenly. So for me, and it's not like my therapist just gave me the solution. I kind of arrived at it. Was that this end in sight that I'm looking for is very different from what I had thought it would be. So technically, my end in sight is I will keep working from home. I know I will keep working from home till way into probably maybe even December. I know that is the case. I know business will start booming only then, only in October, November, not before that. Definitely not before September. So there will be a lot of prep for that prepping of, the business taking off. So for me, for me, the end in sight is I will suddenly come into a schedule like I had never imagined, which is basically a freelancer's, I've spoken about this before. I have always dreaded being a freelancer because I don't think I have the discipline to work from home.
Yeah.
And to me, that end in sight is exactly that entire routine of working like a freelancer would work. Working like a disciplined freelancer would work.
You can be a disciplined freelancer. That's the...
as in I will need to be a disciplined freelancer because at this point of time, I'm not a disciplined freelancer. I'm not working from home. I'm living at work. That is different.
Yeah.
I am barring today, yesterday I was working all day long because I've forgotten boundaries. So for me, the end in sight is a very different reality. It's a very new adapted reality that I will need to adapt to, where, all the things that I used to do when I used to go to work, I will have to do those as slots in the morning and slots at night. And the good thing is I will have 2 hours. I will suddenly gain 2 hours, but I will have to find a way that those 2 hours are not just poured into work. It is poured into me. Yeah. So that's a struggle, but that's my end in sight because it's very important to realign. So what's your end in sight?
You said the word realign, and that's where I think my fracture has happened, that I'm not being able to calibrate or adapt anymore. I was good at adapting in the start to this situation, to the global pandemic, but now it's like how much adaptation is required. Also, I guess where we both are different is the fact, and I don't mean this in any way, you have a job. I suddenly lost not only my job, but an entire foundation of routine in my life. You know what I mean? Right now, I don't. And no matter how much I'm trying, no matter either I'm getting gigs that are using COVID as an excuse to not pay enough, or I'm not getting gigs because companies are right now not hiring, or you know what I mean? So I've gone in that spin. But that's just the job side of it. Where is the finish line for me? Again, if it's about COVID right now, it's when a vaccine is out there, because I just feel, and that's 2021. So I'm not even December. For me, right now, instead of finishing this marathon, a large part of me is just every day preparing myself to do this for another 6 months, 7, 8 months, whatever it is, because I now, and we can't avoid what's going on in the world nowadays. You can't.
Of course,
you really can't. No matter how much you try to ignore your phone, you try to ignore your this, right from your what happened in South India yesterday or this week, to like George Floyd, to like COVID numbers rising in lockdown. You cannot escape it. No, somehow that information. If you turn off all your gadgets, I think a bird outside your window will come and tell you. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The thing is, the little I use technology nowadays, actually, I've been reading a lot, by the way, just so that I've switched off, I've switched off because I've reached a point where I am in, what's the word? I'm right now in some sort of remission now where I need to cut. If I want to keep my mental sanctity intact, I need to focus on just being okay with this cabin fever that I'm dealing with, this cut-offness, reclusiveness, which I was very proud of, by the way, before the pandemic. Oh, I love I love being this, I love that. But now that it's like a thing I have to do, it's become like oh shit, I don't want to do it. Not that my solution is wanting to go out party or socialize or hang out with friends and all. It's just I'm literally starting to miss human touch. Can I tell you something random? I know I speak for a lot of people. I've been joking off a lot, obviously, throughout this lockdown. And lately I've noticed that porn is no longer cutting it for me. Like I just there's an endless sea of porn out there. And I just, no, not this video, no, not this video, no, not this video. And lately I've started realizing that I put my phone down for a second, fuck porn. I shut my eyes and I actually jizz when I imagine myself smelling someone's neck or cuddling with them. Like, that's how it's chiseling away at my psyche now. You know what I mean? That's how much I'm missing human contact on a primal level. Like if I'm a chimpanzee. So that's happening, but the end in sight only when a vaccine is out. I feel for me that's a big one because I'm reading a lot of stuff and dude, I cannot afford to put my parents through a 2 lakhs, 4 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs bill right now. And the funny thing is, I repeatedly, this is something I tell my roommates also, they keep thinking, I'm being a hypochondriac and all, because I spoke about this in a previous episode. One wants to go hook up with his girlfriend. One wants to just go for a run and, be out of the house all the time. And I was like, listen, guys, I'm not worried about contracting the virus. Can I give you an example? I have a friend I used to stay with when I used to stay in Sion. We've been in touch. We've not been in touch for a couple of years, and recently she contracted COVID, by the way. And I was reading her thread, and you won't believe it, dude. She isolated for 3 months. When it started, she lives with her husband. They had stocked up like what is it called? Those Americans do those bunkers, nuclear bunkers. Like that. They stocked up for 3 months. She did not step out for 3 months. After this, she suddenly, like 2-3 weeks ago, decided, hey, you know what? I can treat myself to something. Okay. And she ordered something on Zomato. And she went down to her gate to pick up that, whatever she had ordered. And next thing you know, she started feeling ill, whatever. And 8 people in her building contracted the virus because of one lady who lived in the building. Wow. Now imagine the hair.
Yeah, you can't. I know you can't like escape it. Like you can't.
You can't.
It is what it is.
But again, what I'm trying to get at is, for me, the stress is not contracting it. ऐसे तो
It's
पकड़ने का तो
passing it on. Yeah.
No. It is the horror that is attached to it with, oh my God, there are no hospital beds right now. People are running to 5-6 hospitals before they this. Oh my God, there are 20 lakh, 25 lakh, 30 lakh bills running up. You read this on Twitter every day. People talking from hospitals who contracted it and their stories. And so, again, coming back to what's the finish line here? Just when there's a vaccine, I can.
No, sure. That's a very practical way to look at it. Of course, I mean,
I'm so happy you're calling it practical. Oh my God. Because obviously I've been thinking that I'm thinking crazy constantly.
No, so I'll tell you what
is soothing.
So we spoke about what we want to talk about, and we wanted to keep it light.
Light. Sorry, remind me.
Yeah. So I'll tell you where it was coming from. So yesterday I had a very angst-ridden conversation with my therapist, and where I was coming from was, so I function at a happier than average level, and maybe it's something I push myself to do or whatever. That's what I. No, but hear me out. I never knew that. So
of course.
The default state for like most people is calm. Just like calm. I'm hyper when it comes to like a lot of shit in my life.
Yeah.
And same with this. Like I like feeling ecstatic, not okay. Like every morning. That's why I love the jolt that swimming used to give me, or just a little rush of nature and whatnot, and that gives me that joy. And I was telling her that I'm just not feeling that anymore, and it's pissing me off, because I go into a spiral, because I first say I'm not happy, I'm not feeling happy. Second, I feel like, okay, so things that used to make me happy are not available to me, and I get pissed off at it. And then I question myself, and I question what a privileged bitch I'm being, because I'm asking for shit while people are dying, and that causes like an added layer of angst, and it's just like this endless cycle. In the middle of that, in the middle of all of this, there are little things that I do. For example, I love the sight of my kitchen counters looking spick and span. My floor, like I love it when I can like see the reflection of items on the floor, like it's shining so brightly.
Yeah.
But and then it's a very temporary, transient high, and that's what that again gives me, like puts me down. And what she said was, there are two things. One, all those transient things like cleaning and shit like that, you have to find and it's great that you're doing that, and that gives people highs, but you have to find things that are slightly longer term in terms of and she said very clearly, they're not
instant gratification.
So in the sense that you've cleaned your floor, but वो तो गंदा हो जाएगा ना, मतलब in the next 2 hours. And then you will stop feeling that. So you need to feel good about something that is a project that you won't need to take on for at least like a month. And I did that. I basically switched my entire drawing room, my bedroom, my guest room, like all over. Like I was, and that gave me joy. And I don't know how long that will last. It just feels good, because this is like a project. And by project, it just is nice to look at. It's not like an achievement. It's not like a thing I need to, a finish line I need to reach. It's just like a creative project that I took on, and it made me feel good. Instead of banking on things which are part of very mundane routine, because that mundane routine comes back and haunts you in a couple of hours. Like you can't feel happy about doing dishes, because literally in a couple of hours you will feel, "Arey, kahan se dishes aa gaye fir se?"
And so, you said something earlier which really struck me, and it is so true. Like so much of any sort of mental illness or like, whatever we are going through is constantly thinking that, like on one level, you feeling that, oh my God, life is so hard. And then immediately your brain tells you, you know what, life is hard for everyone else. And
Everyone.
then
Yeah.
suddenly the next step, your brain is just like, you know what, it's hard for everyone else, but you can't handle it because you're just a whiny baby.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then you put yourself down in that way. And I hate that feeling. Like, I really hate that feeling.
But coming to that, like,
Yeah.
what are the little things that have given you joy in the midst of this shithole garbage fire that we are living in?
It's a tough question for me to answer because I know the obvious.
I'll not use the word joy. I'll not use the word joy. I'll say what has kept.
No. Use the word joy. Use the word joy, because there are things before the pandemic and even during the pandemic, a large part of it that still gave me infinite amount of joy, which is food, obviously being number one. Just getting the time to sit out from the rat race, and But the thing is, now we are at a point where this has gone on for a while, and even though food still cooking it and making it and thinking what I'm going to make for Sunday lunch and those kind of things, it gives me joy. But the thing is, now it's like, yeah, I've done this enough to like not get joy out of it. It's beaten that out, and this is something I've derived joy out of for years and years and years and years. But now that it is the only joy right now in my life, it somehow feels like it's worn off the appeal. Of course, I know again how to rise above that and not think like that, and I still get great joy. Like, I saw a great movie last night, like a good horror film after ages.
Which one?
The Lodge. Have you heard of it?
I watched it before it sort of started streaming on Prime. I loved how atmospheric this is.
Yeah, honestly, it's not a great horror film. It's
atmospheric.
Yeah, but I love the vibe of it. It was, and I loved like heavy Christian set horror. I mean? Like crosses and like, I don't know why, there's something very gothic about it. And like you said, it's atmospherically gothic. Which brings me to something I'm kind of, let's just we had discussed that, let's talk about just general things we've been consuming lately in terms of pop culture / recommendation kind of an episode to keep it light. So we'll just go there. I'm kind of amazed that how for the first, not for the first time, but I'm noticing, and maybe I'm the only one reading too much into this, but how a non-LGBTQ show is kind of very popular with the LGBTQ community right now, which is Dark. Have you?
So I mean, I have been talking about Dark for 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
So before like the zeitgeist kind of caught on. You know, like I've
only seen season 1, but tell me something. I've not seen season 2 and 3, but tell me, does it venture into some LGBTQ space? Or the character?
So I'll tell you what happens is there are I'm not,
unless there are spoilers.
So I'm not going to it's a great thing about any sexuality on that show is that it's not a plot point. It's reality. Okay. And that's what I love about it.
But there are characters.
Yes.
Okay. That's all I need to know, because
there is trans. It's not very heavy on LGBT representation, but it's there. There is representation, and it's not a not tokenism representation. It's very interesting representation. So. So let's talk about Dark, because I really wanted to talk about it. And I'll tell you why. This is my theory. I'll tell you why it's catching on. Dark is a show for me that demands attention from the viewer. And I'm witness to that fact, because I watched season 2 as soon as it released last year. I couldn't make head or tail of it. So I had to watch season 1 from scratch again. And I finally managed to do that just from starting Jan this year. So I spaced it out in a way, and good thing happened because now season 2 is also kind of fresh in my head. Hence, I can watch season 3. Like I'm
Yeah,
on
season 3
episode
is
4.
good reviews. It's the final
Oh
one,
my,
right?
yeah. So
Yeah,
I'm on the 4th episode. So
yeah.
and if I had watched season 2 last year, I know I would have needed to watch season 2 all over again.
Yeah.
So the reason I feel it's getting so popular is because people have time
Mm.
to watch something. There is time to sit in.
Sorry, but that's exactly what did not work for me, because the more, see, first when the government was like, everybody stay home, I was like, wow, this is a dream come true. Like, nobody's expecting me to, everybody wants me to stay at home. Like, legally they want me to sit at home. Amazing. Yeah. So I started with binging with really heavy
So
set stuff.
that's the thing. That's the thing. It's not a binge. It's not a binge show in the
No,
sense.
no.
I'll explain where I'm coming from. Why I say time. Uh, One of the things that has happened to a lot of people is content exhaustion. Like people just feel, and content exhaustion is, it comes very often from not being stimulated, by the content that you're watching. So something like you usually watch lowbrow fare when it comes to, binging stuff. It's not edge of your seat stuff. So, but now if this is a show that draws you in, that you can't not watch, like completely hooked onto. And as a result of that, when you start watching it, and also Dark is just starting to kind of become popular because the 3rd season came out, and obviously because of the reviews and this and that, and it's like Game of Thrones. Like, I remember watching Game of Thrones when HBO sort of released it, and India caught on like a year and a half later, when it had already become like a phenomenon and talking point. Now Dark is a talking point. And as a result of that, people are taking the time. People have a little bit of time, no doubt about that. It's just that people are annoyed with that. People are exhausted with a lot of other shit. It's not like people don't have the time to watch it. The phenomenon were going through was switching the television on and seeing something for like 10 minutes and thinking, yeah, what's the point of watching this?
Yeah.
And this,
no, it was just, again, my mental capacity to watch something heavy. I felt that kept getting a little more blunt. I still, obviously, like, I saw a Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Now, that's not a movie you can put Aaj mood, like, let me just pop.
You need to be in a mind space.
You know what I mean? It's not a Home Alone or some Jumanji type.
Yeah,
movie.
True.
You need to be in a mind space. And here's the thing, I thoroughly enjoyed Dark, the first season. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love little unknown production houses, international, German, something nobody's, it's right up my alley. Plus sci-fi, and, it's all there. Atmospheric, it's all there. But the thing was, I just started feeling, the more I tried to watch stuff that demanded my attention, like you said, I just kept feeling like I kept sliding more into, and now here's the cringy part. I rewatched all of Friends. It was.
Why is it cringy?
Cringy because I'll tell you what, I kind of now, and I've reached a point where I understand why I enjoyed Friends so much back then. And now it's like so many jokes are just like, what? Like, why?
Of course. I mean, the jokes haven't aged well.
It's a little dated yet.
True.
But what happened is I started going for basically what I call stuff I can watch while I'm on my phone. You know what I mean? Friends is something it can be running piche. Even Office, you can't do that actually. You know what I mean? Office, you can't run in the background and be distracted and follow what's going on. Like, Office is an intelligent show like that. You know what I mean? But like Friends, so I've actually gone on this Friends, Seinfeld, and oh my God, I spoke about it, but I've fallen into Beverly Hills of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Housewives.
Real Housewives of Beverly Hills I started, and that is perfect quarantine viewing for me right now. Because
so tell me, like, let's talk specifically about what what what
What do I like about it?
the examples, yeah, like what do you
Yeah,
like about
it's
it?
running in
And
the background, and the moment I feel a fight is stirring up, I put my phone
yeah,
down. Because the rest is what? It's just some rich socialites worrying what to wear for the next gala event. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, it's not something that requires me to do this. But the moment I'm like, oh, there's some fucking shit stirring up. Oh, she gossip. Oh, this fight is about to happen. My attention is there. So in a way, I am looped in without being looped in, basically.
Hmm.
Like I know what's going on. So I have veered onto that side. I've had, now it's been 3 months, yeah. And I've had proper phases. Like I remember there was a proper trilogy or movie franchise phase I had where I watched all of the Lord of the Rings and Hobbits. I watched all
Hmm.
of the Matrix. I watched all of the this. Now, right now, if you ask me, I'm in a great, like, again, I'm rewatching all my childhood favorite shows like
Hmm.
Golden Girls, Roseanne. I'm really like, and dude, those shows have aged so well. Like, I watched Golden Girls today. Like,
Hmm.
I watch it every night, and every day I'm blown away by how a show from the
Progressive.
70s and
Yeah,
80s is talking about gay rights and gay marriage,
yeah.
and how did they even make it? Because back then, you even say the word gay and your advertisers would pull out
Hmm.
because it
Hmm.
was such a touchy topic back then. But you should. I'm amazed when I watch Golden Girls and Roseanne now. Roseanne, for a lot of people who don't know, is the real, I always call it the real equivalent of Full House. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Full
yeah.
House was the sappy, oh, come, in the end, they sit with the children and they tell them what's the right thing to do. But Roseanne was like, no holds
Unflinching.
barred.
Yeah,
Yeah, talking about abortion and drugs and gay marriage and
yeah,
everything.
yeah,
You know what I mean? With
yeah.
great humor, with great humor. And I
Hmm.
feel so sad that Roseanne's life is, you know what happened, and they brought
Of
Roseanne.
course. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't want to say she brought it upon herself, but honestly, you can't be so tone deaf in 2020.
Of
Like,
of course, of
you
course. And
know, like,
but can I tell you something? I have very limited passes to give out to people who do wrong. And
yeah,
Roseanne got one. I'll say that. I might get some flack
sure,
for saying that, but
sure. No, I
Roseanne
mean,
is
I
one
feel,
because I've
I
seen
feel
her
that,
show, which she's written,
yeah,
and I know that one moment of that ambient bliss, she was totally racist and everything to
yeah,
someone online. But I feel like I genuinely know that okay, it was a mistake, and of course
yeah,
it
yeah,
can be
yeah.
a mistake. And right now the conversation is so
No, so
strong.
I completely understand mistakes. I totally understand mistakes, and I'm one of those people. I hate this idea of a cancel culture,
Yeah.
uh, because I feel like it that's not going to solve shit. Uh,
My favorite podcaster got cancelled this week, by the way.
are you
Yeah,
serious?
Chris D'Elia. Yeah, my favorite. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for underage girls tweeting.
Hmm.
And it is such a confusing thing. Like when someone you idolize, I don't idolize Chris
No,
D'Elia,
I felt the
but
same. I felt the same about Louis C.K. because I idolize him. I used to idolize him, and I'm so like I don't know what I can
can
feel anymore.
okay, I'm so happy you said that. Can I tell you something? I just rewatched all 5 seasons of Louis in this lockdown,
Hmm.
and I was embarrassed to say that out loud. Like, because I know that it
No,
might be,
that's good. There is some crazy good writing there. There is
it's not even writing,
fantastic.
just I have never seen anyone touch nuance like
Yeah,
Louis
yeah,
C.K. When it comes to like, right from body shaming to death to
yeah, yeah,
anything, to
yeah, yeah,
race to color to even scenes about like what he's guilty of in real
yeah,
life, like
yeah,
the Me Too, this, like he has something to say about everything beautifully woven in his show, but in real
yeah,
life he turned out to be a dick,
yeah.
and it is so confusing. And which is why a lot of times when someone tries to have the art versus artist conversation with me, I slowly back out because I know my opinion is
I know. Same.
like, and
Especially, so I've particularly felt this about Louis C.K. because I used to say at a point of time that um if someone doesn't find, like, like I used to say this quite proudly, that when I'm on a date, I want to, like, a very, very, like, a super hot, successful date would be if that person also likes Louis C.K.
Oh my
Because I
God.
love his humor. I love
Uh,
that sharp biting humor. I used to say that. And
yeah.
then it's like my hero fell,
Dude, and it's
like,
like wine. Again, and this is my third rewatching of Louis, by the way. And now when I watch it, I found myself not laughing at all. But it was so profound. Like, it's
remember
actually
the
a lot of
gay
funny stuff.
episode, the episode where
Oh, yeah, where
I
he
had
suddenly
tears.
the life boy.
Talks about, yeah, like there's that conversation about what a faggot means,
Oh,
and gave me goosebumps, and it still gives me goosebumps. And
yeah.
anyway, let's yeah, I mean, I
No,
feel
but
like,
as in, a lot of times, what happens is when someone gets cancelled like this. So, for example, you might know this, but I have you on my Instagram. Like a lot of times, I share a lot of scenes that I like from certain
hmm,
stuff, but I don't share scenes from Louis ever because I just know there is some person on my Instagram list who is going to be like, "How can you watch Louis? What the fuck is wrong
hmm,
with you? Louis did this," which I know. Okay, and see, that's the thing, right? Where do I draw the line now?
yeah,
A Roman Polanski, would you watch his movie? No, you know, like
yeah.
because he doesn't. Harvey Weinstein, would you want to watch his movie? No,
Okay,
like
here's the thing though. The Hours is still one of my favorite films, and I still
yeah,
continue watching it. And it's
yeah.
very easy to kind of detach stuff from
I'm
Harvey
going to
Weinstein
jot that
because,
down. What a great time to rewatch The Hours. I've not
oh
seen
my
it.
God, oh my fucking Lord
Thank
God.
you,
Like,
thank you for reminding me.
okay, so here's the thing. I, the thing about Harvey Weinstein is, like, he's a despicable man.
Yeah,
It's very easy to detach
yeah,
his work because he was almost like a logistics guy, like,
yeah,
so
yeah,
it's not like he was a creative, he had creative ownership of something to the large masses.
yeah.
Roman Polanski, it's easier to do that, but at the same time, is Rosemary's Baby not one of the best horror films still?
Oh
is
my God, it is.
is The Pianist not one of the best Holocaust films ever? I don't know whether you've seen The Ghostwriter. It's,
Yeah,
for me, one of the truly satisfying thrillers that I've watched
yeah,
in a
yeah,
while.
yeah.
So what do you do? Like, I don't know. Like, for me,
I try to
sometimes
read.
I
I try
do.
to read about this art versus artist discourse. A lot of times I try to read about it, and every time I find something super deep, it's always ambiguous. Like 50%,
Yeah,
it's like it's okay if you want to, and 50%, no, shut the fuck up. How can you support a person who's ruined careers? Probably,
yeah, yeah,
you know what I mean.
yeah.
And I've literally felt this so personally this week with Chris D'Elia because Chris D'Elia, first of all, is functions on a level of humor which, if any layman saw, they would be like, "Holy shit! How can this guy say this stuff in 2020? He's anti-feminist. He's anti-feminist. He's
Hmm.
anti-cancel culture. He now, unfortunately, has been accused of messaging underage girls and asking for nudes and all of that. And I don't know how to like dismantle my love for someone or
Hmm.
their art just based on who they turned out to be in real life. And again,
Hmm.
I hope like people are listening if they're planning to come attack us in our inboxes for saying this. But I hope they understand that we are coming from a place that how does one detach themselves?
Yeah.
It's like that because it is an act. It's something I spoke about in therapy this week.
Hmm.
Like I was really stunned that holy shit, like uh, and now when I listen to any of his podcasts, I just keep finding flaws and faults. And oh man, Chris, you're going to get crucified for saying this in the past. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Like I
Hmm.
constantly kept feeling that. And I get it. It's human for me to. I can't just. It's not a vaccine script, right? Like suddenly you
Yeah.
can't just. Oh, I don't love the R's anymore because Harvey Weinstein produced. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
can't do
Yeah.
that. You can't do that. But what's the middle ground, and who's willing to have those conversations? Like, can I be honest? Like Woody Allen for ages. Like he was a huge part. He was one of the finer filmmakers growing up for us, right? I don't know about you, but at least for me,
I mean, I
like,
used to watch Yash Chopra, so like that's
no,
different for me.
yes, Chopra. Oh my God. No, but what I mean is like, we grew up in the 80s and 90s where obviously you were shoved the Jurassic Parks and all the
Yeah, yeah.
mainstream stuff was shoved down you. But every time you wanted something intelligent, you looked at a little bit of,
Mm-hmm.
you had your Woody Allen and Pedro Almodóvar,
So
whoever. Like,
I'll tell you how I wrap my head around this.
mm,
Especially for, it's very easy to detach from a musician, a painter, because not even musicians sometimes, because
how? I was just going to say,
so I'll tell you
how?
why. So it's very easy to detach from artists whose art is solely theirs and not anyone else's. So like, for example, a painter or and musicians who do their own writing and recording, for example. When it comes to film, I refuse to give the entire credit to one person, because there is a screenwriter involved.
Sure,
There
sure.
is like
Yeah.
it's an ensemble.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So which is why, and be it a TV show, be it a film, I feel like there is so much. I would question the entire TV show if it did something. If it stood by an idea
Yeah,
today that they stood for,
yeah,
that has not aged well. For
yeah,
example, I would totally, say fuck Friends if the writers today didn't say that we could have been a lot more progressive.
yeah,
I know
yeah, yeah,
we were a product of those times,
yeah,
but they've
yeah,
said that very openly.
yeah, yeah,
Um, for example, one of the things that used to piss me off, and it still pisses me off, is when people used to call Joey cute. The number of times it has riled me up, because, and it's not laughing matter for me, because every single boy who has emotionally abused me, every single straight boy who has emotionally
you
abused
too.
me, is a is a is like a copy,
Joey.
a Xerox copy of that guy,
Yeah, yeah,
who's like this popular guy who's like a jokey,
yeah. Johnny Bravo,
the
basically.
life of the party,
Huh.
but is so despicable because he's homophobic, he is transphobic, he's
Yeah,
misogynistic, he looks at women only as bodies.
yeah,
And for me, it used to really rile me up. And
yeah,
I've always hated Joey's character. But
yeah,
today, there are it's a conversation where
yeah,
obviously it's not aged well. And
yeah,
I respect that. But
yeah,
when it comes to, let's say, something like a Louis, it's,
yeah.
I would still watch it because Pamela Adlon came from there.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Like, come
God.
on. Come
Yeah, I
on.
just saw that
Like,
episode yesterday.
yeah, like she's a revelation. And
Yeah.
it's not just Louis CK who's made this show. There are so many more people. There are so many talents that have
Because
been
of
discovered.
it, Better Things was born. I feel like if we
Yes.
hadn't happened, Better Things wouldn't have happened.
Yes,
No?
exactly. So, I mean,
Uh,
I prefer to look at it that way. I know it might sound like an apologist, way of looking at it, but that's not
Not
it.
really. It's just,
I
you know
feel
what
like
I
giving
think?
credit to a lot
It's
of people's hard
confusing
work.
feeling. It's such a like when you said musician. Can I tell you something? Like I'll tell you, and especially you use the word apologist. My best example I can think of is Michael Jackson. If
Hmm.
you grew up in the 80s and 90s, you cannot have escaped the power and magic of Michael Jackson. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Then
yeah.
suddenly there are these accusations, and I don't know about you, but everybody was fiercely protective about Michael Jackson first. That, oh, it's
Hmm.
for the money and they are suing him and he would never do something. How can Michael Jackson? You know what I mean? Even though
Hmm.
he had started doing pretty kooky things like dangling his baby from a
Yeah,
back,
yeah, yeah.
and you started hearing of like very TMZ type, oh, he's made a
Hmm.
chamber and he drinks blood and like he's cursed Steven Spielberg, all that kind of shit,
Hmm.
Then what happens is over time I started understanding, and then he died. Okay, I
Hmm.
still remember the day he died. I had to go to work, and I actually went to work, and everybody at work was in such a bad this. We were told to go home.
Hmm.
Imagine, like I was
Wow.
working at Sachi and Sachi. We were like, hey, if y'all are not feeling okay, you can go home. because YouTube was new and suddenly everyone is listening to Michael Jackson all day. So there was no work happening, go home, So again, it just felt like, holy shit. And then, when I actually questioned myself and how I've been protecting a predator in my head was when I saw that Leaving Neverland that came out last year, the 2-part documentary. Dude, that ripped through me like a bolt of lightning, because that was finally the final nail in. And can I tell you something? Apologist in terms of, I had reached a point where everybody knew that by the time he had died, everybody knew that, oh, he was an extremely lonely person, how terrible his childhood was. So in that sense, I was like, maybe he was a pedophile because he was such a broken person, that sort of empathizing, And then I saw Leaving Neverland last year, and I just had to come to terms with the fact that, what, this person mattered a lot to me. His music is timeless. Like, I know, if we as a civilization survive for 3,000 years, maybe no one will know Louis C.K., maybe no one will know, but somewhere Michael Jackson will still be a part of music's DNA. You know what I mean? That was his influence, in a span of whatever his career was. But what I'm trying to say is that I had to make peace with the fact that I cannot apologize. So even though I was so sad while watching Leaving Neverland, because it actually, 60% of it was showing what a lonely and alone and broken and fractured human being this person was. And 40% was just the horrible things he did because he was such a this. And I'm not still justifying that, that's why he turned to pedophilia. No, but I just knew that, okay, I have to make peace with the fact that something I really cherished and loved so much, it is tainted by this person's real life. You know what I mean? And sure, if Thriller plays somewhere, I still feel like I should do the Thriller dance step, and I love the song in the Billie Jean Never. But it also reminds me that, hey, this was the person who made it. And so many times I'm like, yeah, everybody disses Bollywood so much, okay? About everything, and right enough. Even right now, I love how this whole, with what happened this week, just this whole conversation now being about how Singham and Dabang and all these actually perpetuate this whole of the badass cop, and that's why it's problematic. Like Fair and Lovely is to fairness, these movies are to police brutality. You know what I mean? So I love that these conversations come to the fore, because these are stupid movies anyways. You know what I mean? Nobody fucking looks at Singham and goes like, wow, this was quality viewing, but it's just, I just feel like sometimes I'm at a Sangeet and I see people go like, Bole Chudiya comes on. I'm like, dude, there are 10 problematic people, who work, whether it's Farah Khan and her brother or Karan Johar. There are 10 problematic people who are linked to this. How do you all forget that? What happens then? I don't know. Yeah. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. It's just, I don't know how culture works in general.
Yeah.
Or how much, or what do you cancel, or to what extent you cancel. And dude, which is like, can I tell you something stupid? Something so regressive so many times, but I'll tell you one guilty pleasure of mine. When I miss my parents, okay, and I miss them means like I miss them, I watch Tarak Mehta Ka Ulta Chashma. Again, by watch, I mean, I put Tarak Mehta Ka Ulta Chashma on just so that I can hear those stupid sounds and the stupid, you know what I like?
Like the toing, like that.
Exactly that. Like whatever the sounds are.
That squeaky laugh. Hey, like that one. Which is basically your cue to think that this is funny.
Me being at home on my phone while my parents are on their phone and this thing is running in the background. It's like a cocoon. I just really feel like, and so many times my flatmates are like, dude, you're watching Tarak Mehta Ka Ulta Chashma, because I'm the one who's like introducing them to Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Yeah. Okay, so I feel the same. Okay. I love Family Guy. and the number of problematic things on Family Guy. So Family Guy is on Hotstar now,
Yeah.
and I started watching Family Guy when it was in its like I don't know 10th season or so. Like I don't pretty much like I've seen some episodes here and there, but I started watching from season 1.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord God, there is so much, and it's so confusing because um technically it's supposed to mean that having that thought is regressive, but then you are also making it regressive, like being
Yeah.
racist and shit like that.
But hasn't Seth MacFarlane always? I feel like in that it's intentionally done
Yeah, it
and
is intentionally done, but I mean, like
to
it's so
showcase a problem in
confusing.
society. Like, you know what I
Sorry.
mean? I get it in Family Guy a lot of times. Even though I honestly did not like it beyond a certain season. I was an avid fan till season 5 or 6. But after that, even I slowly sort of
Yeah. So I'll tell you, there are a lot of things which are not jokes. For example, the transphobia on the show, like over time it has kind of weaned off, and over time it has become very on with the times. But for example, again, spoiler alert, Quagmire's father goes through surgery and is a woman now,
huh,
and one of the first things that happens is, I don't know, there's something about um, someone says, oh, I slept with so and so, and it turns out to be that I slept with someone trans, and they start vomiting.
hmm,
And that's fucking problematic. Like, even
yeah.
if it's a joke, it's like,
But
you can't say, I'm sorry, you can't say nigger and say, don't say nigger. Saying nigger is wrong. Like, it's just the time we live in. And to me, that was problematic. And there
no,
are so many
I'll
of
tell
those
you what,
things.
I feel like this is a cyclic problem. I'll tell you how. You know what I mean? Again, with police brutality in India being a big conversation this week, have you watched Patal Lok?
Yeah, no, I watched little bit of it. I
I
wouldn't
don't know
be.
if I'm pronouncing that. I love the
Yeah,
show.
Patalok.
Like,
Yeah,
I really fucking loved it. After Delhi Crime on Netflix
yeah.
and Sony. By the way, a lot of people have not seen Sony. These are two exceptionally good cop dramas, Indian cop dramas on Netflix, Sony and Delhi Crime. I felt for the first time I saw something fantastic, which was Patal Lok. Now, in Patal Lok, there's almost an entire episode dedicated to these 3 or 4 culprits being grilled by the police with brutalness, as this. And someone made a tweet yesterday that how come shows like this are being, this propagates this. But sometimes I feel like, see, that's the difference between your Singham and Dabang and a Patalo. I feel like a lot of times, are you not supposed to show the reality of
Sure.
what the
No,
world?
I could completely get you, like what you're saying. I completely understand that
Yeah.
reality and all of that. But when it came to the situation I was talking about,
Mm.
that's not reality. You're making light of someone's trans identity. You're making light of like, I'm sorry, that's not reality. Like, if someone's hurling. So what I was saying is that I completely understand. For me, if you have to show racism, you have to show the dark side of racism. If you have to show, how how people are being, I don't know, like, not uh, just being taken advantage of. That's something that's hard, gritty reality that you need to show to for that people, so that people can. You're not glorifying it. Shining a very harsh light on the reality. That's different. But when you make a joke out of something, when you make a joke out of sleeping with a trans person, that ends up being problematic for me. And that ends up being, something that someone will take away as, a learning that, oh, yeah, it's okay to laugh at someone. Like, for example, Hangover. This whole joke of, this person sleeping with, and the word they use was she-male. For me, that's problematic. It's problematic as fuck. So that is something I'm like not okay with. I feel like we have
It's so
um
funny how we make these lines and all in our head, because again, when you said the puking thing, like my instinct, this is, look, I need to first of all say this: I don't like Family Guy anymore. I don't
hmm,
find it funny. I recently, when it came on to Hotstar, I was like, oh, let me see what the new seasons are like. And 2 episodes in, I was like, nope, still not happening. Yeah. Not because I find it problematic. It's just it's like dead baby jokes. You know what I mean? Like there was a time where I used to proudly say dead baby jokes, and now I'm like, who the fuck was that person? You know? But what I'm saying is, then you said that, he vomits because he barfs, right? Like, because I know that the person is trans. I immediately think what they're trying to do is, there are all these, Karens in society who would do something like that. Or, they are trying to show that how another person, it's less about the issue. It's more about how our reaction to that issue is. But now to compare it to an identical problem, which I found appalling, was in Shubh Mangal Zyada Saavdhan. When the father finds out that his sons are gay, he vomits again. When he sees them kissing and the train stops, the first thing the father does is vomits, and then he faints. You know what I mean? And I did not like that at all. So I'm trying to just decode here. I'm not trying to make a point at all. Is how I find that, that is so American culture, because assholes and racists and bigots and hypocrites like that exist there. But in India, we are still at a point where we show it as a yuck, repulsive. Nobody vomits when they see two guys kiss. I don't know how my brain differentiates the two and justifies one, whereas it doesn't justify the other. I don't know how that works, or how my brain works in the end. That's the moral of this story, I guess. Like, what the fuck,
So tell me, if you spoke about Golden Girls. We're talking about almost reaching out to a historical pieces of entertainment that we used to watch and gaining pleasure out of it. Is there anything that currently has become a mainstay suddenly for you, which you just absolutely are enjoying, which you're just loving at this point of time? Or even music, for example.
Everything. Again, I'm a purveyor of of fine arts and pop culture. Everything. So, like I said, I don't know how to answer that question, because you'll find me I'm a big boss.
Now let's talk about, let's say, in the past fortnight. Is there something that you've found obsession in? Because I go through these phases of obsession. I'll
tell you what I'm getting a lot of joy out of. I am, for the first time, one of my favorite films is The Shining, but I never read the book. And for the first time, I'm reading the book, but I'm reading it as how, now that I am trying to be a screenwriter in life, I'm trying to read it as how Stanley Kubrick might have read it. You get what I'm saying? I'm not reading it, I've not read The Shining, let me read The Shining, and making my own assessment of it. I'm just trying to see what Stanley Kubrick decided to pick out, because I don't need to read the book to know that over the years, the war that went on between Stanley Kubrick and Stephen King and how Stanley Kubrick made this movie that totally put the book down in, you know what I mean? So I'm reading it from a screenplay and what to absorb from a certain thing from a revered director of one of the best directors ever born. And I am finding infinite joy in that right now.
That's amazing. That's amazing, because I'll tell you, I'm kind of going through that same process in terms of so my favorite, I've always apart from Lord of the Rings, my favorite fantasy series is His Dark Materials. And it's basically it's so heavy on theology, and it's actually quite anti-religion, anti-organized religion, in how it kind of works towards blinding people's autonomy and things like that. So it's really loaded with so to say propaganda, and I love that. But so there have been two attempts at adapting it to screen. One was a movie way back in 2007, which was a pretty movie, but really lackluster in terms of its screenplay and very rushed and all of that. And recently BBC kind of came out with season 1 of basically it adapted the first book as it was a mini series. So the
Yeah.
mini series is like written far better, obviously, but it kind
Okay.
of lacks the grandeur of the majestic grandeur of what a sprawling, like, fantasy
Sure.
novel
Sure.
trilogy would have. And
Sure.
what I've been doing is I started reading it again, and I started thinking of what I would change. And I do feel like something like this, something like a trilogy like that, it deserves the Game of Thrones treatment. It deserves the,
Yeah.
let it simmer, let the ideas simmer
Yeah.
over 6-7 episodes, and let people sort of soak every single, let characters develop. So I've been thinking
Yeah. Yeah.
on in terms of what would I do differently. Like it from like
Yeah.
literally every single episode, I read only till that point, and then I kind of go into this like this. I love my La La Land. Like I love this wonderland that I live in sometimes, and I go into this wonderland and I
Uh,
sometimes sketch costumes of what I would have this person wear, or I kind of just go on
yeah.
this random search on the internet to look for little elements that I would maybe add because I found their clothes too simple, or maybe not
Yeah.
ethnic enough, not
Yeah.
saying enough about their culture. So
Yeah.
I've started doing that, and it's giving me so much pleasure.
Yeah, and knowing
Um,
you must be doing it really well. Like imagining or fleshing these people out in your head.
like I don't know, I mean, how well it's fun. Like I'm not even looking at it as like a task. I'm just looking at it as like I do this fantasy league thing where I look at every year's Oscars, and then I almost compare it with
Yeah,
what if I had to give the Oscars.
it's a
So
yeah,
I put
yeah,
like my like 5 nominees, and like who would
yeah,
be the best. So I go into that, and it's giving me a lot of pleasure. Like
yeah,
I know what you're doing. Like I know exactly the that I don't know, it just stimulates you, when you start thinking like the director, like
yeah,
the person who will adapt it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I tried Harry Potter right now. Also, I thought what a great time to like during the lockdown just revisit all of it.
Yeah.
But now I'm struggling with it a little because
What
it's
do you not like about it?
first of all, though, can I tell you something? I don't know if I've told you this before. I've not seen a single Harry Potter movie because, and for the exact reason that you said earlier, which is when I read Harry Potter for the first time, like I read it with imagining it the way I wanted to imagine it. You know what I mean? Like what does Hagrid look like? What does Harry look like? Everything. Like what is Diagon Alley like? Everything in my head was like one way. And I knew if I watched that movie, then for the rest of my life, if I read the books, I would just imagine the movie version of it. It's bad enough that I can't shake off Daniel Radcliffe, who, by the way, gave a very fitting response to J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the worst part. I'm just about to finish fucking Chamber of Secrets and she did this. This stupid.
Yeah.
It's making it hard for me to like her. Like again, it's
Yeah.
gonna happen with
Yeah.
Miss Delia too, but like even with J.K. Rowling, I'm like, yeah,
Like,
why are
come
you
on, yeah.
ruining
Don't
your
be a
legacy?
Karen.
Why are you
Yeah.
ruining your own legacy? You've done something so
Exactly.
beautiful. It's like, I don't know, like Mother Teresa porn shows up after all the things she's done. I don't know, like, I don't want to watch that Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
no porn shaming. Mother Teresa could have done porn if she wanted. But,
Yeah. No, but I
sorry,
know what you
now
mean.
I'm being bad. But
And the thing is, I started loving Harry Potter. So I did not like the first film. I did not like the second film. The films I
yeah,
started liking after, actually, the third film is when I really felt like there was something creative that was
yeah.
done to the films. And the
And
fourth
that's
one
the thing,
again,
when I read the first book only, I actually always saw it as a very dark series.
yeah,
Oh, this
yeah,
kid, his parents got murdered by an evil wizard. But
yeah,
the
yeah.
moment I had seen the trailer of the first Harry
It
Potter
was,
and
yeah,
I
it
knew
was so,
Chris Columbus from
I
Home Alone,
mean,
I just felt
yeah,
like this was a Christmas movie. Like, I do not
yeah,
want to watch a
I agree.
stupid like Christmas movie. I
Yeah,
wanted to see and I believe the movies eventually third or fourth movie onwards it got really dark and the tone
yes, it
and the
did.
color
Yeah,
and all shifted. But Dude, imagine if Meera Nair would have actually made it. Like, wasn't she one of the
I
Meera
I don't remember.
I believe Meera Nair was supposed to make the third movie onwards. And holy shit, I would have loved to watch that. I would have
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if she's got a. I mean,
I get it. Her body of work doesn't show that. But
like no, in terms of, I'll tell you where I think she does fantastically well with gritty reality. The moment she goes into something that's a little more mounted, that's when I feel like the soul kind of just sucks out of it.
Yeah.
Be it Vanity Fair, be it like I've seen enough, like Queen of Katwe, for example. I was like,
I recently again her movie because of the whole racist this going on in the world right now. Mississippi Masala came to the
yes, so that I love.
Yeah,
that
but
I love.
I looked up Meera Nair's filmography and I've seen 90% of it, and I thought, wow, she's actually a fantastic director. Like,
she is a fantastic, no doubt. Okay, so here's the thing. I would totally, you've seen Room, right? Like Emma Donohue's, Brie Larson. You know what? The kind of adaptation I would really trust her with is something that's a little more intimate, that's a little more human, that's a little less whimsy. The moment she's gone into whimsy, for like, I love Monsoon Wedding. I absolutely love Mississippi Masala. But the moment she's gone into a slightly grandeur sort of a tale, Vanity Fair or Amelia, Queen of Katwe, Reluctant Fundamentalist, anything that has required her to mount it on a larger canvas, I've seen it fail a little bit. And that's why I keep saying,
I think I'm just being partial because honestly, there are few people who are celebrities and big in life, and you just want to be their friend. I feel Meera Nair is one of them. Meera Nair and who? Oh my God, what's her name? Meera Sayal. Do you remember?
Oh my God, I love Meera Sayal.
I just want to hang out with them. Like
I definitely do.
I don't want to be like, oh my God, I love your movies. I wouldn't even talk.
So here's the thing. I've hung out with Meera Nair.
Bye.
Okay, so I'll tell you why. I mean, it's not like some friendship hangout, but I was in Calcutta, and this is when Namesake was being shot, and this is. There were a couple of scenes that was supposed to be shot in Calcutta, and I had gotten approached to play like a bit part by the casting director, and
this a big part,
like a bit part, not a big part.
I thought that.
BIT. And so basically, the thing was. Either I'll be an extra, like a junior artist, or I will be like this really tiny part that I have. And, there was another person who obviously needed to look a little older. So he obviously, and he's a far better actor than I could be. So he got the part. So I knew, I had gotten the call to kind of go there. And I used to jog at Victoria Memorial. Mm-hmm. And this one morning, I went jogging, and suddenly who do I see? I see Meera Nair with Frederick Elms, who's the cinematographer, because they were doing a recce early morning. Okay. And I was like gobsmacked. I was like, "Are you Meera Nair?" And I was like, "Fuck." So I it was like a 5-10 minute chat where I had, and I spoke to her about how I really, really love, the films that she's made. I told her about how I was not even an adult then. I would
get a restraining order in like 5 minutes because I wouldn't even talk about her movies. I would just be like, "Can we be friends, please? Can we please be friends, Meera? I want to be friends with you really badly."
So that's my experience with Meera Nair.
Dude, you are so polite because I first of all. Imtiaz Ali. Okay, let's talk about that for a minute. Like everybody sees him as this master. He's the new Yash Chopra, right? The new modern man.
I mean, he's not made only good films. He's made bad films also, but his good films are really good films. I will say that.
Apart from Jab We Met, I tried.
I'm sorry, you've not seen Socha Na Tha.
Who was in it? Was it Urmila?
No, no.
Sanjay Suri?
No. This was Abhay Deol and Aisha Takia. It's a
Okay,
delight of a movie.
I
And
will
then
watch
there
that.
was,
I will watch
I
that.
actually, and then I loved Love Ajkal also. Not this latest one. The latest one is shit.
Okay,
I
we
actually
have to,
loved Love
because
Ajkal.
I tried that movie. I just couldn't stand. First of all, though, if Saif Ali Khan is a Sardarji, I'm out. I'm out because Saif Ali Khan is adorable as a,
So
you
for
know,
me, I literally watched the film as like I didn't even bother about that track because it just didn't make sense. Like it didn't. Think about the film, which is think about if you just think about the film as the Deepika Saif Ali Khan story, and I think that would be it. I don't know why he tried to muddle it up with this
no, but
suddenly.
what I was getting at is when Highway came out, right? So everyone again, oh my god, what a great,
Oh,
and
I
this.
like Highway too.
But here's the thing, I was at a point where I actually was really surprised by whatever little I had seen Alia Bhatt in. I was amazed at how good an actress she is.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Whatever little like I'd seen her in, I felt like, wow, this chick shines. Like Razi, she's outstanding in that movie. So, and I was like, wow, you finally putting all this nepotism debate out there. There is someone with actual, this girl can be something someday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least that much acting range she has, you know? And my friends were like, let's go watch Highway. And I was like, whatever. And I saw Highway. And again, I was like, what the fuck? And here's the deal. I was on Carter Road, and there's a little lane that joins Carter Road and Bandstand. And I was walking early morning there, and Imtiaz Ali was walking there. And I was like, excuse me. That's what I said. I was like, excuse me. And he's like, yeah. I was like, you're Imtiaz Ali, right? He's like, yeah. And I was like, I had one question for you. I'm just trying to say the story to you because you were so nice to me, but this is how I am. Okay. I was like, I saw Highway recently, and please can you explain to me why, when she got a chance to run away, okay, in the first 40 minutes of the movie could have ended. You know, there's a scene, movie where she gets a chance, she runs away, but she somehow just comes back and to be with her, the person who's like fucking kidnapped her, which is terrifying in India. Okay, to get kidnapped and then, dude, he gave me such a pseudo stupid answer. It's like, did you watch the rest of the movie even after that? I was like, yeah, because I was in a fucking theater stuck with my friends. And he was like, maybe the character wanted to come back because she felt like her story wouldn't be complete if she did not. I was like, what a crop of bull. Like,
yeah.
I was like, okay, bye, have a good walk. You know what I mean? So, no, I don't know. I don't get this whole... And dude, Tamasha, though, I have vocally hated so much because I saw it twice. Once I hated it and I was like, no, Farhad, this movie is like really looked at as some indie classic in Bollywood. You're obviously missing something. Watch it again. And the second time I hated it even more. Like I was like, I am out. But okay, I'm just being acidic. I do this week. I plan to watch a couple of Hindi movies. They are too far apart. The good ones are too far apart. Yeah, like
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like they should be more consistent with it. I get it. We are getting there in terms of what's happening in Bollywood. But it's still far and wide apart, like good content. I know I want to watch Manoj Bajpayee's Bhosle this week. It's out of Z, I heard. Because I love Manoj Bajpayee. Manoj Bajpayee is there, I am game. Even if it's a bad movie, I'll watch it. Although I don't think I've seen a terrible movie with Manoj Bajpayee in it. I don't think I've ever seen a bad movie also. He's been in only... And I have to say this, like, because the Sushant Singh Rajput thing is fresh. Sonchiriya last year.
Oh my God, what a beautiful film.
In the top 3 best films I saw last year.
100%.
It was outstanding. And
it was one of those films that I enjoyed watching in the theater. Just even the visuals, like even like for a it's a small film, right? Like it's a relatively small film.
Dude, and I'm not like posthumously ass licking. But that movie has Manoj Bajpayee, Ashutosh Rana, Ranveer
Yeah.
Shori, who are like acting powerhouses. But
Yeah.
actually, Sushant Singh Rajput is the one who really shines in that movie.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So I just felt like, holy shit, like, it was extra. When I heard
It's
about him
fantastic.
dying, the first thing I thought about was that movie. Like,
I
what the
agree.
fuck?
Same.
He was so talented. So talented.
Yeah.
So I want to watch Bhosle this week. I want to watch that stupid Amitabh Bachchan and Ayushmann Khurrana movie.
Yeah. Gulabo Sitabo.
Yeah, that I would. I don't know why. I've not heard. I've not even bothered to look up if it got good reviews or bad reviews. I just thought, chalo, dekhte hai. I saw Hera Fairy again.
I absolutely love how,
Yeah.
like, I love it. I love that film. It's a riot.
Yeah.
There has not been a single watch for me where I haven't like laughed, like chuckled out loud.
Yeah, that's
Every single time.
Timeless classic. Andaz Apna Apna Hera Fairy, which both I saw in the lockdown.
Yeah.
And they are just like, you think that now if I watch it, I won't find it funny, but somehow it just ends up still being fucking funny every time. Like, it's weird.
Yeah. So I've been actually watching as many over the past couple of weeks. I've been looking for very like female action thrillers. I've told you about my obsession with kick-ass females. I chanced upon this show actually called Motherland Fort Salem. It is so it's basically about a dystopian-ish sort of a society where during the Salem witch trials, basically the witches struck a chord, like they pulled up an accord with the regular human beings, saying that you leave us be and we will take care of the security of the country. So basically, USA's security is witches. And it's a very interesting. So it's not highbrow, but it's like one of those really satisfying watches. And if there was a feminist fantasy show that needed to exist at this point of time, that would be it. So I love that. And so I watched that show like beginning to end, and I was so pleasantly surprised. This other show, I had never heard of it. I had never ever heard of it, and I love chamber mysteries, like murder mysteries. Randomly, I was just looking through stuff. One of those days where I was like, "Kya dekhe yaar? Maybe I shouldn't even watch something." And I saw this interesting, icon on my interface, on Hotstar's interface, which said The Head. And it seemed like, there's something to do with the Arctic and Antarctic. And I just I didn't even read what it's about, by the way. I just read the word thriller and I started watching it.
Yeah.
I am so gripped.
Yeah.
It is basically a murder mystery set in the Arctic.
Okay.
And so basically it's a team of scientists and no one knows who's killed like an entire team. And
that's probably my favorite in general.
Right?
But a secluded whodunit is one of my favorites.
It is amazing. It's
types of genres ever.
Yeah. Like 3 episodes in. 3 episodes in, I am totally hooked. And I basically recommended it to so I have my college friends and I, we are like fanatics when it comes to like thrillers and stuff. And they started watching it. Then they were like, okay, so let's do a viewing party when the next episode comes out. And I was like, totally. So yeah, The Head was fantastic.
You know something that I've only started doing now, which I know people do a lot and I wondered why I never do it, is watching stuff on YouTube. You know what I mean? For me, YouTube is just music. Like when I want to listen to music, or like I want to see a recipe, or if I want.
I watch a lot of content on YouTube. A lot.
Yeah, but now I've started actively what is this channel? Apart from John Oliver every week, I don't watch any shows on YouTube. You know what I mean? But lately I've been watching a lot of like the Nerdist and stuff like that. I've really started watching a lot of Test Kitchen. A lot of stupid shit like that. Like, I don't know, I quite enjoy it. It's small sized. You don't need a lot of attention.
I agree. I 100% agree.
But I'm pretty late to this party because a lot of times I would read or read tweets, or my friends who like while eating they like to watch YouTube, and I was like, that
Yeah.
is so annoying, because if the video gets over, you're maybe eating, then what, you have to sit and
Yeah.
what do you watch
No,
now?
so I'll tell you one of the things that I've been following quite religiously. How far in are you on RuPaul's Drag Race? Have you
I'm not
watched
in the
season?
latest season, no.
Okay,
But
so you know Trixie and Katya, right?
dude, we never did our RuPaul's episode by
Because we were still waiting for like the
the lockdown
quarantine to
time.
end.
Oh
Yeah,
my
but okay, so Trixie and Katya, firstly though, they have this show called which is amazing, where they just talk about
What's
random
the show
shit.
called?
It's
Okay.
UNNHHH. Like it's on World of
What's the name
Wonder.
of the show?
Okay. Sorry? Yeah, so it's fantastic. And they've started doing this series on Netflix, which is Trixie and Katya Watch. Basically, they watch a show and they are basically live commentators. And
Okay.
it is so much fun because Trixie is like super funny and Katya is like super bizarre. So they make like a killer combo when it comes to, a chat combination.
Yeah.
So I've been watching their content so much.
Yeah.
And it's giving me so much joy because it just makes me smile. Those two Brians just make me smile. Both of them are
I don't think
Brians,
you might
by the way.
be happy to hear, but I am fully intending to watch Sheila, by the way, because
The number of messages I have gotten. The number of messages I have gotten saying thank you for suggesting that is insane. Like I've gotten at least 12 messages saying Shira. And I was like, yay, I've done something right.
Amazing. No, I am, because ever since I heard you talk about it, I maybe started picking up, like reading the word everywhere. And I know now it's kind of a talked about show, like on a very indie level. A lot of people love that show.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to check out Sheila. So that's one thing on the watch list. You don't read a lot, or do you read a lot?
I'm a voracious reader.
Oh, okay. Oh, like actual books or Kindle reading?
Oh no, Kindle don't work for me.
Okay.
Like I need the paper.
Only Kindle work. So great. That should be an entire episode of its own. But like, okay, I'm reading anything.
Like right now, I'm reading T.S. Eliot, by the way.
Okay. Yeah, I
all his works.
Yesterday, and I downloaded like around 25 to 30 books that I wanted from my to read on Goodreads. And did I ever tell you I hooked up with someone on Goodreads?
Oh wow! Yeah. Okay then.
That's like, I don't know why I feel like it's such an achievement, but it just seems like, wow, I hooked up with someone over Goodreads. I don't think anyone has done that. But I downloaded around 30 books yesterday, so I'm very excited to like do that, get to that. Music-wise, I don't know what. I'm listening to a lot of new music. I'm adding stuff to my playlists and everything. But
I'm on a scores marathon. Like I'm not even venturing into songs.
A band or like a movie score? Like
movie scores.
Okay.
Yeah, like for movie and actually television scores. Like some shows have in the recent past have had fantastic scores. Like Devs. Devs has such beautiful music.
Outstanding.
Servant. Manoj Night Shyamalan's Servant has.
I love that show.
So and that show has some killer music. It's so creepy, so like haunting, and I love and again, speaking of the R's, the reason R's kind of came to my mind. I've been on a Philip Glass marathon, like all his films, Truman Show and the R's for me is one of his best scores ever. Then
to combine two different things, you know what I do a lot of times? Let's say I'm about to read Harry Potter, right? I don't think we could have done this in the 90s, but now with YouTube, okay? What I do sometimes is I'm about to read Harry Potter, or let's say I'm about to read a sci-fi book or anything. YouTube has playlists. So all you have to do is type Harry Potter type ambient music or sci-fi reading ambient playlist. And I just put it on in the background, and it actually adds such a great layer.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You're reading, like it just makes you read more in a more rich sense, like especially with sci-fi soundtracks. And let's say like if it's a space-based sci-fi, sometimes I put in deep electronic, sci-fi, and it's very specific nowadays. And these are 3-hour, 5-hour playlists on YouTube.
Yeah.
They just endlessly go on. And ambient, dark, sci-fi background music. Or like, can I tell you something racist? Okay, I shouldn't.
When you start with that.
Okay, I don't know if you know this, but you know this. But in Louis, in one episode, he gives his daughter this little book of China, like from China, where a little duck goes to China.
Yeah.
So I downloaded the ebook version.
Okay.
And in YouTube, I typed Chinese restaurant, Oriental, soothing, relaxing music. And I read that book while it was just playing, typical Chinese Oriental restaurant.
Okay, right.
It was adorable. It was so good. Like a little duck, but with Chinese music in the background. Okay. I know when you're on.
Well, okay then.
Well,
yeah,
okay.
but like, I think music is also like, music's actually taken a lot of, I'm actually listening to a lot of soundtracks because it also helps me calm my nerves like a lot. Especially
I do something for years I've been doing. I started in 2016. So I'm going to do a shameless plug-in here, okay? A lot of my friends look at me for music. Like for years, since I was a kid, for some odd reason, I was the one who was burning all my friends' CDs and giving them pen drives full of music because they loved the music I would listen to. Because sure, I would listen to the popular stuff, but I was always heavy into the indie, nobody knows this band kind of music. So when YouTube playlists started, like you could make playlists on YouTube in 2016, I started making a monthly playlist on YouTube. So Jan 2016, Feb 2016, right up to right now, June 2020, I've been making monthly playlists. Each playlist has around 70 to 80 odd songs. Nice. Sometimes it goes up to 100, 200 songs, depending on how much music I've consumed that month. All mixed genre. It could be anything. It could be rock. It could be synth pop. It could be retro wave, whatever. It could be indie pop, whatever. And, the funny thing is, because I've been doing that, what happens is when I sometimes listen to my own playlist, let's say of March 2018, when I hear the songs from back then, I literally know what was going on in my life.
No, music holds memories. Yeah, I totally agree.
It's such a great feeling. Sorry, so the shameless plugin is, if you all want new music, go to YouTube, type Farhad Karkaria and you'll get my playlist. But the funny thing is also that I have noticed a weird change in this lockdown. Suddenly, I've been listening to a lot of Goa trance, which I thought was dead. That part of me is dead with my doing days and my doing chemical days. I thought it had died. But then I started noticing, because I'm so like, what's the word? Like sedentary right now in life, like not much is happening. Like trance keeps me a little upbeat. You know what I mean? So
sure.
It's like, it's great how like sometimes you can use these things to get you to a certain point.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
Whether it's movies, books, music, whatever it is, like it can totally like take you from point A to a little bit far away to point B, just so that you can be in a different zone. And to wrap this whole thing up, like that's the beauty of this lockdown. A lot of times that the life's little joys which are consuming all these things, like it just is to, whether it's a distraction or whether it's to just make you not feel anything you're feeling. In that sense, I feel all these things are great things to have right now. And what better time when you have the privilege of time to explore these things.
I agree. I completely agree.
But I just wish they made better Bollywood movies and better horror films.
I
really feel good.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think we've spoken of so many pieces of content, like so many pop culture pieces.
The Russian roulette. Like think about it. With what? But which was suddenly we went into art versus artist.
Yeah.
It's a mixed bag. It's getting very tough to name our episode one thing.
I know.
Maybe it should just be called M for mixed bag. That's it from now on. All our episodes are M for mixed bag.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up.
talk to you soon, Shanetwa. We will.
Yes.
We will talk to everybody soon.
Yes, in a week.
Hope we recommended good enough things, and take care. That's pretty much it from our end. Okay. Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed that show. I'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Paytm Money and Intel. Really, really fun week, and I think that you guys should definitely check out some of the stuff we did. So we had Shifa Mehta, who is the host of the show Smile India, on the Paperback podcast. Really fun thing. On Edges and Sledges, our hosts had an episode just amongst themselves. No guests this time. Really fun show with lots of cool banter. I think you'll enjoy that quite a bit. On Storytellers and Storysellers, Vineet had Shrishti Bell on. Shrishti is the head of Netflix in India, and I think you'll really enjoy that conversation as well. Also, do check out Uncle Please Sit. Joel and Tushar had Anuya Chatarkar on. Anuya hosts the popular YouTube channel Books on Toast. And don't forget others of your old favorites like The Habit Coach, Football Should Ball, All Things Policy. All of them are doing a great job during this pandemic, and you should definitely check them out. And with that, we hope to see you again next week.
Beta, did you know 79% of all scientists in NASA are Indian only?
देखो, इंडिया में टैक्स सिर्फ मिडिल क्लास भरती है. Everyone is just enjoying free यार.
आजकल के youngsters are only interested in partying and enjoying. उनको देश की पड़ी ही नहीं है.
बेटा तुम बस शादी कर लो, उसके बाद तो you can enjoy life like anything.
I will tell you what this country needs. This country needs 15 years of dictatorship. That is the only way to become a superpower. See the Chinese, how much they've progressed.
सुनो, तुमने ये WhatsApp forward देखा?
So what's common between all of these statements?
They're all absolutely rubbish.
Fake WhatsApp forwards that spread like wildfire.
And statements that defy any logic.
We are here to debunk them all.
Way of family WhatsApp groups, worst nightmare. Where what happens when you read a book.
Basically, we're just a bunch of guys who want to cut through the bullshit of everyone saying this, how it won't be true.
So that the next time someone confidently squeezes out some WhatsApp or Twitter BS, you can look them dead in the eye and go, Uncle, please sit.
So join me, Joel.
And me, Tushar.
Every Mondays for a fresh new episode of Uncle, Please Sit.